Good evening and welcome to the Garfield Heights City School District Special Board Meeting Work Session. Today is Monday, December 9th, 2024. I'll call the meeting to order. Could I get roll call, please?
Ms. Cox?
Yes.
Mrs. Daniels? Ms. Thomas?
Here.
Ms. Morrison?
Here.
Ms. King?
Here. And could the record reflect an excused absence from Ms. Daniels, please?
Absolutely.
Could I get a motion to adopt the agenda for this evening?
So moved.
Is there a second? Second. That was moved by Ms. Morrison and second by Ms. Cox. Could I get roll call, please?
Ms. Morrison?
Yes.
Ms. Cox?
Yes.
Ms. Thomas?
Yes.
Ms. King?
Yes. All right, I'm going to turn the floor over to Dr. Reynolds. We have a presentation.
Actually, Phil.
Phil.
Want me to take it over?
Phil, sure.
All right, I'll take it over. Well, thank you. We have Mr. Mike Sharp from Squire Patton Boggs. If you recollect, he is the firm is our attorneys who work and put together our resolutions for the levy, and they do some of our bond work as well. So he's here tonight to kind of walk through again with you guys some of the options available to us for the renewal levy that unfortunately did not pass in November, this past November, but what we have to look forward to in May for this funding. So I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Sharp, who's been here a few times.
Good evening.
Good evening.
As they say, we have to stop meeting like this. So I thought it would be useful, and I love the iPad. My iPad is like my right arm, and I don't know which one I'd rather give up. It depends on the day and what I've got going on. But I thought it would be useful to start with a little background, as was mentioned. So we have what's in our business called an emergency levy, which is a levy that produces a certain amount of money. In this case, it's $5.35 million, so it's a significant levy for the district. And it itself is a result of combining a couple of other levies many, many years ago, but it now sits as one levy that is expiring in collection year 25. So that is the year coming up. And as we are permitted to do, we tried to renew that in both of the elections this year, and that hasn't been successful. So that's our background as we look ahead. So what can we do with this levy in terms of options? They're basically the same as they've been, and I've run these for you before, so I won't belabor. There is the potential of combining it with your other emergency levy, but there are hazards to that because of the size of this levy already. There's what's called a substitute levy, which I'll hit on. I think I'll just hold that one and hit on it in a minute in the context of what's going on with your tax valuation. And then there's what we've been doing, which is I call it simple, but a relatively straightforward renewal. Please give us, voters, what we continue to have, but for an extended period of time going forward. And we've been asking for that levy to be renewed for a 10-year period, which is the statutory maximum period that it could be renewed for. It doesn't lend itself to a continuing period. So where we're left with is, because the levy collects through 2025, it will need to be renewed at one of the two elections in 2025, or it will expire. And by expire, poof. And so we have primary and general. So over the years, the General Assembly has taken away the February and the August elections that some of us remember used to be the go-tos when things were needed. Now we're just looking at May. It's back to May this year, I should add, not a presidential year, so we're back to a May primary in 2025. And then hopefully we won't need to talk about that, but November. So it would look a lot like what you did, but I thought I would highlight one thing that would be different, and I think different in a positive way, at least as to the way things look, and I guess I'll let people decide if it's good or bad. The way that the levy works, again, is it's based on producing a fixed amount of money for you all, and what's going to be happening with this coming year is your tax valuation is going to be rising. And I don't know, do you have an estimate? I've
43%.
Okay, well, it's even more than as you're going to hear, I scaled down, but I didn't guess that high. So in simplistic terms, the more value you have, you levy less mills to produce the same amount of money. And so one thing that will look different when we go to the ballot, so our ask is exactly what it's always been, that $5.35 million. Because the valuation is going up, expect the county fiscal officer then to give you a lower millage certification than what you have had in your two elections this year. I think in the two we had this year, it was just about 13.7, 13.8. At that level that Phil just referred to, it's going to be closer to 10. So the reason that's important is because that's what appears in the ballot. The ballot will make reference to your dollar amount, but it is also going to refer to an estimated millage figure. And so the valuation increase will drop that number down. You're going to get the same amount of money regardless of if the renewal will produce for you the same revenues as it always has, but it just simply takes less of a millage number to produce the same amount of money. So that's one thing that will look a little different. I corresponded with the county fiscal officer just today in preparation for tonight to ask when those no values would use and would it interfere in our process. And the response I got was that upon receipt of that initial resolution, they've just simply been sitting on them and waiting. And when the new valuations are final and ready for use, then they'll start distributing the certifications back out. So we don't have to be cautious about
it.
procedure. So I think my understanding is the recommendation is going to be to essentially put together a resolution for the renewal option at the same 10-year term. And I think we're looking at potentially the regular board meeting upcoming.
Yes, in December. Quickly though,
Yeah.
so we've been on the ballot twice already.
Mhm.
So how many times can we go to the ballot?
Well, at this point, you're down to two more.
Just
Because, we have two elections in '25, and the levy will expire in '25. And so we have to, if we're to renew it, it has to be renewed at one of these two elections, or it just simply expires by its own terms. There's no real maximum, there's a statutory prohibition of far in advance you can go, which we took advantage of. So in essence, you end up getting 4
Gotcha.
maximum shots because of primary general.
Correct. Okay.
So that's a lot of words, a lot of stuff. I'll pause, and I'm glad to answer questions.
Phil, you have a question?
Can you quickly go over the 10 and 2.5% rollback in homestead credit? So if this does not get renewed at its current terms, the taxpayer essentially loses 12.5% of, power. The state covers that
Correct.
for the local share, correct?
There's long been, under Ohio law, what's called the rollback, which is a certain percentage of the levy collections actually come from Columbus, to use the word. And for levies that don't have that, 100% of the money comes from the local community. For levies that do and are qualified for a rollback treatment, it's 12.5, right? It comes from the state. So basically, it's a way to offset the burdens of local property tax that was put into effect many years ago, and which unfortunately the General Assembly has been, as they are wont to do, picking and taking little, a death by 1,000 cuts kind of thing, where they take a little bit here, a little bit there, but at least for now, we still do have it.
But if this fails and the community would put a new levy on for the same exact dollar amount, in essence, the community would be paying 100% rather than 87.5.
Yeah, what will happen, I like to not go to the negative, but that's my job, I guess. So what would happen is, I talked about the levy expiring, so it just simply ceases now, presumably, because it's a lot of money and it's necessary to do what you do, you'd put some sort of levy back on. The way that the statutory scheme works, you would have to ask for that levy as an additional levy. So when you walked into the voting booth in '26, again, I'm hoping we don't get anywhere close to this scenario, but your opportunity to renew would have expired with the elections in '25. After that, you can still go get the levy. Unfortunately, one is that it would have a year arrears associated with it. So a levy passed at the May of '26 election couldn't collect until calendar '27, and it would have a different phraseology that's, I think, deemed much less friendly.
Yeah. It would-
Additional bad, renewal
be a
good,
new-
generally speaking.
It would be new money.
New money.
It would be
Yeah,
As
technically.
opposed to
Yes.
just a continuation of the
Yes.
old money.
That's precisely right. So it highlights the priority of making sure that we get this renewal passed at one of these elections this year.
Is there any other questions for Mr. Sharp? All right, well, thank you very much.
Okay, my pleasure.
All right. Next on our agenda, do we have another presentation? Okay. Next on our agendas for discussion is setting a date for our board retreat, looking at February. I wanted to just look at a Saturday a little earlier than waiting till the beginning of the year, just so that we can all put a hold on our calendars. Any February dates not good for?
15th.
Okay, and I have the 8th, that's not good for me. So we have the 1st and the 22nd. If you want to go for the 22nd? Sure. Does that sound good? And then I'll double check with Mrs. Daniels. And 9 to 2. Okay, next on our agenda is an update on where we are with strategic planning. Dr. Reynolds?
Thank you, Madam President. At this time, the committees are meeting individually. Ms. Johnson will be reaching out to those committees to ensure that progress is being made. What happens after that? Well, before that, we have a survey that's out to the community as well, just asking particular questions and reaching out for their feedback. Unfortunately, we have not received a lot of responses to the survey, so I spoke with Russ, and he's actually going to be sending that out and advertising need for assistance there. And again, Denise will be sending out an email for our focus groups. The next time we will be meeting will be January 14th. That's where we're taking all the information coming back from the surveys, also from student responses. We'll be meeting with students, the students' responses, the surveys, and also the feedback from the focus groups, so that we can then consolidate and find, almost like what we do in a dissertation, to see the themes, to really start looking at those themes. And also at that time, we'll be looking at the district data and adding those things to really start developing a draft for our strategic plan. We're also going to be looking at some strategic designs to see how we will deliver this information to the board and to the public as well. But that is pretty much where we are right now, with just waiting for the information to come back from each one of these committees that we have out. And again, life happens sometimes, so it is good for us to follow up with those point persons who will be leading those groups to ensure that work is happening.
Okay.
And that's where we are.
Any questions for Dr. Reynolds? Ms. Thomas?
May we get the survey on the website?
Yes. I can make sure that is happening right there.
Because where are they supposed to find it?
I actually allow that to happen through our consultants on that, but I think we can help them.
Yeah.
We can help them by placing it on the website, because all we're looking for is feedback from community members.
Yeah.
Those folks who may not be able to participate in the focus groups. So I think we can assist with that, using other avenues of social media as well.
How was it distributed?
I believe that Russ sent out an email using, I know that we have an email list for community members,
Okay.
but I think we need to be a little more aggressive if we're really trying to get some information from them by using our avenues that we use on a weekly basis.
I could ask them to put a strategic planning button on the website as well,
And
so we have that right on the front page, so that way, as we provide updates and things like that, we have a nice one-stop shop.
That's
for
even
them.
better. That's even better.
So we'll have that right there, so it's prominently displayed.
Good. Good, good. So there will be a button, yes.
Any other questions or comments or feedback? All right, next on our agenda, back to Dr. Reynolds, an update on Parent University.
Thank you, Madam President. There will be a second semester launch for Parent University. We're set to expand Parent University with diverse programming and exceptional partnerships. And I'll list all the partners that we're working with, including Cleveland Clinic Partnership. They will be assisting us in hosting 3 impactful sessions for the school year. They are equipping parents with speaking the language, understanding and communicate with children, more parenting type of opportunities, screens, sleep, social media, and other focus factors impacting children's mental health, navigating anxiety tools for your child's emotions. So that's coming through the Cleveland Clinic. Also, Goodwill Dress for Success. There'll be quarterly empowerment workshops. Participants will receive wardrobe for 3 professional outfits. Access to e-learning tools for job and career exploration. Also with Tri-C, which are huge, and thank you to Ms. Cox for coordinating that, but it's a huge partnership because they're going to be providing free credit and non-credit courses tailored to the community's needs based on the survey data that we've sent out. And also access to Tri-C's amenities with an ID holder. They'll be receiving an ID such as gym memberships and all the things that come along with being a student. And also just community experts. Those are folks who are local to the community, who know this community, but run some organizations that can help us with a variety of different opportunities for our parents. And all of these things are geared to our parents. And there's also going to be a brick and mortar location, formerly the Learning Center. We're going to have 2 classroom spaces, a computer lab, a community closet, and also a meeting area. And other opportunities we're going to be providing are from our departments in-house, computer literacy as well for some of our parents who want to expand their knowledge with using Google, all Google suites, basically. And we're also going to be marketing this with contributions from our incredible partners, the Community Expert Parent University is poised to become a robust resource for families, fostering empowerment, learning, and connection across the district. So there are a lot of things that are happening, and this is basically just listening to what our parents are telling us that they need from us. Outside of the academic focus for their children, we have all those things, wraparound services that we provide for children, but we wanted to also provide some opportunities for the families as well. And these things are panning out very well, especially those partnerships that we were talking about. At one point, when I initially walked into the district, we were told that some of these partnerships would never happen. And these partners have stepped up and really, I like to say, showed up and showed out. They've done a great job with offering this assistance to our community, and we look forward to getting Parent University started next semester.
How much feedback have you received on the survey so far?
According to Mr. Hurt, there was a lot of feedback and also some in-person pieces as well.
Mm-hmm.
We selected a couple of community members, some who are highly active in what we're trying to do in the district, including folks from Moms on a Mission and also Top Dog. Those are community members and also parents of the community as well. Just using the surveys and the feedback that they provided for us, that's how we crafted what our community needs. A lot of times we can come up with our own things,
Right.
and we'll miss the mark. I think it was very important that we had conversations, communication with the community to ask, what is it that you need? And some of those things were directly from the community. So yes, we're still open for communication and feedback on other things that we'll need. They made it a flexible situation, so we will be able to respond to the needs of parents. It is, while we do have set coursework, according to some of the things we're doing with partners, we can also make adjustments to provide some opportunities that may pop up or may come up. We will be able to be flexible in that way.
Any other questions or comments in regards to Parent University. All right, so we're going to move on to any Board of Education training updates. Are there any updates? Ms. Thomas?
I went to our National Career and Technical Education Conference this past week, and it was really good. It was really good. A few of the sessions that I went to one about how to promote STEM through diversity and inclusion. They talked a lot about the stats of STEM occupations and different ways that we can integrate DEI into STEM in the classroom. So they talked about partnerships and professional development and work-based learning opportunities, and access to technology. I went to an AI and Canva in education course. I know we love learning about AI, so I will send that. She shared her PowerPoint with us, and she talks about a lot of the different things that Canva can do with AI. So I will share that with you guys, and you guys can like copy it and like play with it, and it was super cool. I also went to a session about K through 8 CTE. So they talked about how we need to ensure that staff is aware that they can touch CTM and STEM in every subject area that they teach. They talked about pathways for recruitment for our younger students. And one of the facts that they shared was that by grade 7, our students have goals. So by the time they get to the 7th grade, they kind of have an idea about what they want to do. So just making sure that we're showing them those different pathways early on. I went to a session about closing the dream gap. That dream gap was about CTE for women. So that was a really cool session. Talked about different things that we can do to help our young ladies feel empowered to go into different CTE occupations. And then the last session I went to that I found was very cool. A Black woman founded her own career tech education school in Kansas City. So she talked about some of the challenges that she has gone through. We had a little debate about whether or not she should try to get accredited in Missouri. So that was a really nice session. And yeah.
Thank you, Ms. Thomas. Any questions for Ms. Thomas?
That session was called Closing the Dream Gap.
Mm-hmm.
I just like the sound of that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And it was about girls, getting girls in CTE.
Great. Thank you very much, Ms. Thomas. Great information. All right. Tentative agenda, Phil.
Yes.
We don't have a physical.
Oh, I didn't give you
tentative agenda.
physical. I'm so sorry.
No. So, has anyone had the opportunity to take a look at it?
It's not active.
I
It's
made
not
active
active?
on Friday.
Yeah.
It's not.
And I don't have my bag.
I'm logged in too.
Are you?
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. I totally forgot. Right. Do you want me to print some real fast?
Yes, please.
Can I help in some
That's
way?
our last agenda item, so we'll just pause here until we have physical copies of our
I see it now.
agenda.
Yeah, I'm in it. I can see it, but
Okay. How many want physical copies?
I'm okay.
2.
I'm okay.
Dr. Reynolds, do you need one or you got it? You got it. All
I
right.
didn't bring the right bag today.
Sorry. Let me print this real fast.
As you'll see, we'll be at Maple Leaf on that day.
Yeah.
Maple Leaf.
Maple Leaf on Monday.
Yeah, that goes together right there.
All right, so we are now looking at our tentative agenda for our Monday meeting that will take place at Maple Leaf. Are there any questions in regards to our tentative agenda?
Madam President,
Ms. Morrison?
may I ask what an event manager is at the high school?
Yes. So we've had trouble this year and last year having folks work our events, our permitted events after school on the weekends. So what we did is we made the position, it's a part-time position, and we have a group of folks who sign up. So it's almost similar to how like security guards and custodians do it. Now, in the past, custodians would usually take these because it was double time, overtime over the weekends, but there hasn't been any of our folks have wanted to take this year. So to do this, we put it into the event manager position from a group of folks who can work those events, and then it would be billed within the permit hours for having the event. So
Okay.
it's all part of the permit process. So we have people in the building with our badges who can open, close, clean the facility, and just make sure that we have some Garfield Heights employees there. Yeah,
All right, thank you.
of course, thank you.
I'm looking at 12.2. Is that something we're gonna discuss in executive session?
12.2.
It's a termination resolution?
Yes,
Okay,
certainly can, absolutely.
so we'll.
If you want to, yes, we can.
Okay.
Yeah.
Madam President,
Yes, Ms. Cox.
19.2,
Mm-hmm.
can somebody get some?
So Battelle made a $2,500 donation to the district. And let me pull up. I believe one of our teachers, yes, wrote a grant for it. It is the OSLN STEM Classroom Grant. So it's for something called Project Prometheus at the high school. It has to do with supporting our agriculture program. Dr. Reynolds has been working very hard to put forth with on the CTE side of things. So this is kind of a teacher going out and getting a grant from Battelle and making the donation. I don't know, Dr. Reynolds, I don't know if you know anything more about it.
No, I know that we are establishing a lot of relationships with about 11 organizations who want to be a part of what we're trying to do with the agricultural science pathway that we're creating. And funding is going to be something that we're going to continue to try to garnish. This one I wasn't familiar with. I wasn't familiar with this one, but it is consistent with what we're trying to do. Identify teachers who are interested as well is our next step. And we've created a timeline with teaching and learning, and also with our diesel department. Several partnerships, as I stated, and creating a clear pathway for an opportunity for our students. So we are excited about that. I'll be able to present more information for you about all of this, but funding is definitely something we're going to be going strongly after. We even had a conversation about some other grants that we're looking at in our cabinet meeting this morning. So again, I wasn't very familiar with this one, but it is consistent with what we're trying to do with our ag science department or pathway.
It's a micro grant, so under $5,000, $2,500 for mostly supplies.
18.1, the food service agreement.
Yes, so we assessed the need when we did walkthroughs of our kitchens and meeting with our cafeteria managers every month, that we do not have a uniform and system for sanitation. So every building does their own, has their own policy, structure, procedure. What this does is there's a company that can come out and do training on, food service, sanitation, make sure we're all up to compliance code, provide the chemicals needed in our facilities, and then also just have those monthly checklists with our cafeteria staff so that we all have a uniform structured path and plan. So if someone had to cover at another building, the policy and the structure is the same, rather than high school has some equipment that's not compliant with what they do in Elmwood or Maple Leaf. So this is actually coming from the 006 fund, which is it's a good use. It's separate from the general fund. So they have a little bit of a cash balance, which is good, but at the same time, this is relatively cost effective. It's only $1,250 a month for all 5 schools getting serviced. So it's a tried and true company. They really where they work with over 100 school districts, and it's just a method for us to again make sure that we have the structures in place across the board. So that's a testament to Gary Moore walking through and doing walkthroughs and reporting back and just making sure we're getting feedback from the folks who are on the front lines every day.
Great. Thank you.
Of course, thank you.
Any other questions, comments?
Madam President,
Ms. Cox?
the 18.1, what's the time frame of that agreement?
So we have it from January through May, and they only want 9-month agreements because our food service department isn't working over the summertime. So it usually is the start of school, which is about September, maybe mid-August through May is when the agreement is. Now we can't have a full year agreement because it violates GASB 97, which means anything that's a renewable contract usually needs to be 1 year, and then you have to non-renew and renew. So you can't kind of cross over in multi-year agreements unless it's for specific reasons, which is, again, a new auditor guideline. So this is a 5-month program. If we like it, if it's effective, we'll evaluate it and continue using it. If we don't like it, it doesn't work for us, then we can essentially look at it in May and say, hey, do we reap any benefits over the course of this short agreement?
Okay. And then if we do like it, then we would renew it in July to be ready for August?
Yeah, I mean, it would be either July or August when we do it, and I don't believe the price would change either. It really just depends on the usage of chemicals and product and all that in the building. So it's a stepping stone for us to continue to maintain our kitchens. It's sometimes overlooked in the grand scheme of things, but yeah, we will evaluate it over this.
All right. Are there any other questions or comments in regards to our tentative agenda for Monday?
I do have one thing for you guys. 19.3, I put a quick levy resolution placeholder. If you guys are ready to take action on that, Mr. Sharp is going to have that resolution number 1 ready for you. Is that something we want on the December meeting?
Yes, please. I don't want to miss any deadlines.
No.
All right. Anything else? All right. With that, I would like to get a motion to enter into executive session at 6:46.
So moved.
Second.
Was moved by Ms. Morrison, second by Ms. Cox, do we do roll call?
Yes, but can you state the reasons we're going into
Oh,
executive
yes,
session?
exactly. We are going into executive session to consider the compensation of a public employee or official and negotiations and / collective bargaining.
Wonderful.
And we will not be taking any action. So once we leave executive session, we will be adjourning our meeting. All right,
I'll take roll.
yep, we're ready.
Uh,
Roll call.
Ms. Morrison,
Yes.
Ms. Cox,
Yes.
Ms. Thomas,
Yes.
Ms. King.
Yes. All right, we are now entering into executive session.